The Incubus of Bethlehem, the Christian Whistleblower, looking here at one of Blake's famous portrayals of the great red dragon and the woman clothed with the sun. It doesn't take a lot of extrapolation to look at that as possible representation of incubus type activity. And as a amateur anthropologist, 2 years of anthropology, associate's degree in effect in anthropology, I find myself asking, why do people do the things they do? Why do people say the things they say? Why do people start the stories that they start? And I found myself again looking at this after our basic training 4 yesterday, how Paul did start the baby Jesus in Bethlehem story, but the question came to me, why did he start it? And I came to some pretty shocking answers. Again, I have to give credit to one of my great subscribers, Rana Darkness, for suggesting this or running this, shooting this across my bow and giving me something to pick up on and think about. That's the great thing about having a growing base of subscribers. Great ideas, powerful ideas. And speaking of great and powerful ideas, boom! The new I Am Divine, I Am Sovereign, I Am Free t-shirt. I know this camera reverses things. I put a picture, I think, at the beginning of the video of it in the right orientation, and I'll put a link in the box below. So let's take a look at this. And I know it's a shocking thought and idea, but let's take a look at this, and let's look at some of the reasons why I think it's very possible that this is the way things might have gone down. So let's take a look at the whole idea of what an incubus is. And if you look here, this is another rendering of an incubus. And basically what an incubus is a male spirit that comes to women in the night and has sex with them. So that's what an incubus is. An incubus is a male spirit that comes to women in the night and has sex with them. It's a Lilin demon in male form who, according to mythological and legendary traditions, lies upon women in order to engage in sexual activity with them. Its female counterpart is a succubus, and salacious tales of incubi and succubi have been told for many centuries in traditional societies. Some traditions hold that repeated sexual activity with an incubus or succubus may result in deterioration of health or even death. Now, I want you to pick up on this. Salacious tales of incubi have been told for many centuries in many traditional societies. Keep that in mind. An incubus is a male Lilin demon male which lies upon women to have sex with them. So you know we never go past a word without checking that word out to make sure we totally understand it. So there's traditions in many traditional societies, like ancient Near Eastern Jerusalem Jewish society, that a Lilin demon, so what's a Lilin demon? In Mesopotamian demonology, where was Jerusalem, Judea? Mesopotamia, right, Mesopotamia. So Lilin were hostile night spirits that attacked men. They had less power than gods. This was also the Hebrew word for both the succubus and incubus spirits, Lilin. Of other legends as a single concept. This word, however, included the sons and daughters of Lilith. They were known as Lilithu in Hebrew mythology. Esther 1:3, King Solomon had Lilin dance before him. Lilith and her children, the Lilim. The Lilim, the Nephilim, the Lilim. The Lilim, the Nephilim. They're considered to be night spirits. Night spirits. So what's your point, Jeff? My point is that Mesopotamian, Near Eastern, Judean mythology was full of, rife with, and very, very well familiar with Lilin, night spirits that attacked men. Further deepening the Hebrew connection are the fact that these spirits were thought to be sons and daughters of Lilith. Lilin are mentioned in the Bible. They come from the desert. Where is Jerusalem again? In the desert, right. And they're similar to the Sheddim. What's a Sheddim? It's a demon. In Jewish folklore, the Sheddim appear twice in the Bible, Psalm 106, Deuteronomy 32. And it deals with child or animal sacrifice. So again, we've got the imagery of birth, childhood, that kind of stuff. So, well, what about Lilith? Let's clear Lilith up for people. Lilith is a figure in what kind of theology? Jewish theology, right, Jewish theology. She's a dangerous demon of the night, sexually wanton, steals babies in the darkness. Female demons, there they are again, the Lilith. And the male versions are the Lilin. And it's in Mesopotamia, it's in Sumer, it's in Akkadian, it's in Assyrian, it's in Babylonian, it's in Jewish folklore. My brothers and my sisters, this concept of Lilu, masculine, Akkadian, Sumerian, Jewish, this concept of a demon that comes and impregnates women by night was well known within Jewish culture. It was, one could say, it was replete within Jewish and Near Eastern culture. Now, I am divine, I am sovereign, I am free. So now, if you're Paul, and you're trying to create a mythology that will grab people's attention, and one that will be enduring, and you know that John has already written what John hadn't already written, you know that the disciples have been ambiguous on the subject of the origins of the Christ, the real Christ. That allows you to slip in and leverage both well-known, ancient, all the way back to Sumer, religious traditions that teach that there were many divine beings that have manifested in human form, most of them around December 25th, most of them in mangers, most of them attended by wise men, most of them in reception of gifts, most of them sought and pursued by a king, most of them that went on to become kings themselves, most of them that wound up getting crucified in the springtime, most of them which rose from the dead, most of them which said they're coming again. So you leverage that very powerful imagery to create a mythology that is both arresting to the mind and enduring. But not only that, because that's the good stuff, that's the positive stuff, but any good storyteller and anybody that's really trying to craft an endearing and arresting mythology wants to put a little fear, fright, and supernatural-esque creepiness in it as well. So why not incorporate the idea of the Lilin that permeates Jewish society? And remember, Paul wasn't just about the Jews. He was about the whole Near Eastern society, all of those cultures that we just talked about, where this Lilin, Lilith, incubi, succubi mythology is not pandemic, it's replete, it's well known, it's part of the whole thing, it's everywhere. So when you craft a story of a God come to earth, manifest like all the other gods of the great other traditions, but then you can craft it in a way that he was brought to this plane through the work of a Lilin, an incubus, then you can put people in a frame of mind of like, wow, not only did this God-man come to us, but he has controlled the Lilin, or maybe he is a Lilin, so this guy's probably making a list, this God. He's probably checking it twice. He's probably finding out who's naughty and nice. He probably sees you when you're sleeping. He probably knows when you're awake. He probably knows if you've been bad or good, so you should be good, for goodness sake. I remember Rex on Leak Project says, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Here with Paul would be, meet the new God, same as the old God. Meet the new Lilin, same as the old Lilin. So even though it looks like from objective 21st century eyes, and I still think that this is probably the main thing that it's put into the New Testament for. It looks like a UFO, ET, alien, artificial insemination / abduction. Mary, and I will refer you to the basics 4 that we just did. Mary is incapacitated. She's paralyzed. The power of this being comes upon her, and she wakes up with something. Not a baby, not an infant, not a child, something in her womb. Sounds exactly like a UFO, ET, alien, artificial insemination, which is put in there to show us, it's put in there as an Easter egg to be able to, or it's put in there so that we would be able to learn about it in the future and understand what they're trying to do as far as false flags. But in the first century, they wouldn't have looked at it like spaceships because they had no reference of it. What they would have looked at it like is a Lilin incubus going into Mary and impregnating her. Startling, arresting, and what's the word? Enduring mythology. And if you're going to create a new religion, you have to have imagery that's arresting. You have to have imagery that is enduring. And it's always nice to have some imagery that is a little frightening to keep the plebes, the sheep, in line. The incubus of Bethlehem, the Lilin of Bethlehem. It gives us an even fuller understanding of why and how Paul crafted his Bethlehem fairy tale. He crafted it to have endearing and arresting imagery to the people of the day through the leveraging of the ubiquitous incubus stories. And it was leveraged to prepare us for the coming days when Paul's boss, Yaldabaoth, Marduk, Jehovah, the Lord, Sackless, Samael, rat bastard, would try to leverage it in a attempted UFO, ET, alien-esque false flag. But we're not going to let that happen because we're getting the word out. The incubus of Bethlehem. This is unwinding your mind. This is unindoctrinating yourself. This is guiding your spirit, mastering your own ascension, being your own guru. This is thinking outside the box. This is putting the dots together the way the dots lie, not drawing new dots or trying to erase dots or trying to skip dots to prove what you think is already true. See, that's what we do here. We take the facts, We're not trying to prove anything. We're not trying to defend anything. And we connect the dots as the dots lie. If it leads to incubi, so be it. If it leads to UFO, ET, alien agenda in the New Testament, so be it. There is no religion higher than truth. And what we're trying to do is uncover what actually happened in the New Testament days, give you an objective base of data on which to make your decisions. Do you want to believe fairy tales? Or do you want to believe anthropological, sociological, verifiable, impartial data? It's up to you. And that is the Incubus of Bethlehem. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. And we'll be back with more. And until then, be excellent to each other.